Welcome to the show. This is part 2 of how to financially prepare to buy a home. Let's go.
How to Buy a Home educates, protects, and connects first-time homebuyers to qualified vetted realtors in their area. Whether you're looking for DIY information or step-by-step guidance, How to Buy a Home is the #1 resource for first-time homebuyers.
What is up, my How to Buy a Homies? I'm David Sidoni, and this is step 2 of the How to Financially Prepare to Buy a Home series. I am a huge believer in organizing your saving and budgeting process, but I realize that might not be for everyone. And I'm trying to be Captain Positive all the time, always letting you know that you're closer than you think and you can do this, but I have to be a realist when it comes to this. I know that you're here for the guidance. And so this next step is going to be leveraging the technology available to make this step more palatable for you, easier for you, something that you want to do. Step 1 is save. Step 2 is save for an emergency fund. And step 3, this is how you do that. Automated budgeting apps. Just recently in the summer of 2025, I reviewed the best budgeting apps for first-time homebuyers. Not the best ones out there to do anything else. I did just for first-time homebuyers. So step 3, that's going to come to you in the form of that episode. It's episode 371 from July of 2025. JT, fire it up. This is the part of buying a home that nobody actually tells you about. The how to save money, specifically when you're doing that to try to buy your first home. And I've seen people without the right guidance, tens of thousands of people try to do this. It's someone who wants to buy a home someday, but right now they don't have any clue where to start. So they start with researching if they can buy a home today. They do that by punching some numbers into an online mortgage calculator. And that information they get, well, it stops them cold, usually because it's nowhere near what they were looking for. And a little side note, go ahead and listen to episode 180. It's entitled Online Mortgage Calculators Are Garbage. It'll help you actually realize what they can, but most importantly, what they can't do. Or maybe they actually call someone and they talk to an expert, a lender or a realtor, and then they run the numbers and they get told, well, you know what? Based on your numbers today, you can be approved on a home at X price with a monthly mortgage payment of X amount of dollars. And then the would-be home buyer goes, well, that sucks. So they don't like those numbers, so they ask what they can do to change them. And they're told, save money, work on your debt, and check back with us in 6 months. All right, here's the deal. That sucks even more. The people out there who get this process started and run into this, they want to know what to do. Now, if you want some details in this, I go into that aspect of first-time home buying on an episode from 6 months ago. It's episode 306, entitled Saving to Buy Your Home. Now, that's step 5 in the crucial 10 steps of Home Buying 101 that every first-time homebuyer needs to know. And that episode 306, it's a foundational episode of what we're trying to do here at How to Buy a Home. It gives you some great real-life stories from people that are just like you. And you can hear directly from them the tips, the tools, the things they did to work their money and saving situation so they can go from renting to owning. And today's episode, I'm going to give you a tactical addition to episode 306. We're going to go deep into the how, the actual action steps, things you can do when you're trying to save money. It could work for you whether you're in the early planning phases or a little bit further along. The goal is just to get you to a place where you can dump your rent forever. And a little quick side note, in this episode, I'm not going to be discussing the debt management. Now, I know that's a big part when you're trying to buy a home, but today we're just going to focus on the savings. The debt part of it, it's a whole different set of action steps, and it's detailed in episode 305. And that's because debt and savings, they're 305 and 306, because when you're trying to buy a home, working on these two things in these specific ways to try to buy a house, they go hand in hand. And it actually creates a bit of a tricky balancing act with a lot of steps that go really against what everyone tells you when you're trying to reduce your debt. Because when you're trying to reduce debt to buy a home, you still have to be thinking about your savings because that's going to affect what you qualify for. Again, it's a crazy balancing act. So today, this episode's just about the savings. Those two things go hand in hand, but the best way eventually to tackle your debt, sometimes it's not to pay it all off and get a clean slate. But in order to know what you're doing, the first thing you need to do is start with a savings plan. You want to build that up, put it all away, and then you're going to find a professional real estate team that's going to give you the correct guidance to help you balance how much debt you should reduce or pay off and how much savings you should be building up. All of that starts with one thing, savings. So what I did for you is I went way down the rabbit hole and I did research on the best budgeting apps to help you when you're trying to save up to buy a home. I'm going to summarize to you what I learned and then help you figure out which app is the best one for you. And that'll put you miles ahead of everybody else who's out there trying to figure out how to buy a home. Fine, I get it. So today I'm going to give you the results from all my research to try to take a little bit of the sting out of the B word. You're going to walk away from here with the right tool for you to help you manage what can feel unmanageable, saving money to buy a home. We need to talk about budgeting, the B word, and why it gets such a negative rap, especially from Gen Zs and millennials, which I totally understand. The information I'm going to be talking to you about right now is from a mindset of someone who's looking at you and realizing you have different goals, values, and ideals. This advice, it's not archaic, it's not dinosaur, it's not out of touch. You young kids need to budget or die. This is not a boomer yelling at you. And remember, I'm no boomer, I'm Gen X. So this is not me saying, well, these damn kids today are too lazy. No. I've dedicated my life to helping younger people understand that buying a home right now isn't the way it used to be, and you have to do it different in a new economy. And of course, that takes into account you, your lifestyle, your philosophies. So I want to help you enhance that. I want you to do everything that you want to do. Now, I get it. Budgeting sounds like the fun police showed up to ruin your life. Most people think budget equals buzzkill. If you're out there and you're in your 20s or 30s, I know, I hear it all the time. Hey, you know what? Things are different now. I want to have a killer life while I'm young. I want to travel. I want to go to concerts. I want to go to festivals. I want to do brunches with my friends. I don't want to deprive myself of anything. Carpe diem. By the way, if you haven't seen Dead Poet Society, it's a must watch. Check out that flick. Now, here's the truth about budgeting that nobody told us in school. Budgeting isn't about you creating a monthly sacrifice so that you can then live better in the future. It's just planning exactly how and when you spend your money, living your life the way that you want to. And it's completely up to you. You make the budget. You set the goals. What's your goal? A house? Well, maybe, yeah, it is, but maybe you got to make sure you get this concert in, or you got to make sure you do that traveling you wanted to. It's all up to you. So as I go over this, keep in mind, I'm definitely not trying to shove something down your throat so you can't live a free and fun life while you're young. But in today's world, in today's economy, things are different. And actually, budgeting, that's how you keep your financial freedom, not lose it. It's not depriving yourself. It's truly empowering the life you're living. So I'm with you, and I don't want you to freak out about this. This is the way to live your life the way that you want. Instead of looking at things as, well, everything's an either or when I start thinking about budgeting. No. We're going to work this with both and. You like that? Yeah, homies, I got more. I'm going to keep going with some philosophical fortune cookie thoughts on budgeting so that you can help reframe it in your mind, and you can't stop me. Mostly because 2025 rents suck and they're going to eat you alive if you don't have a plan. So I'm going to talk to you about budgeting to try to make it fit into your plan. With budgeting, you're not giving up the fun. You're choosing where the fun goes. When you make a budget, you're not locking yourself into a boring life. You're unlocking the ability to do whatever you want. Buy a home, build real wealth. Heck, you could be doing it just because you want to lock in and make sure that you get to buy $8 lattes. Rad. I'm telling you, go for it. Put it in the plan. And then don't be afraid to say out loud, yep, I got an $8 coffee. And you know what? I planned for this in my budget because this Java is good. A budget is a tool to afford more of what you love. There are 3 main types of budgeting, and all of them can now be automated with the budget apps that I'm going to review in just a minute. Let's go over the types of budgeting. Number 1, you've got zero-based budgeting. Zero-based budgeting means assigning every dollar that you earn a specific job. It's either going to go in spending, saving, investing, debt payoff, or some other fun thing. You know where every dollar goes. You know how much is coming in, and that you zero out. You're going to take your income minus the expenses, including the fun things that you have put into your plan. That's going to equal zero every single month. Every dollar has a purpose. You plan where your entire paycheck goes before you ever spend 1 cent. Now, this is a great technique for first-time homebuyers because it helps you be intentional with your savings and you get to see where every single penny is going. You have complete control and visibility. The second budgeting style is called pay yourself first. Now, you can use this as maybe something to kind of get you ready for zero-based budgeting. It's kind of a stepping stone to get there. What you do is before you spend any money on anything, you're going to set a fixed amount aside. You're going to put that directly into someplace else. You can just call it savings. Now, what's left, that's what you live on. This is another one that's good for first-time homebuyers because it prioritizes the saving goal. You know, you've got to have an account that is going to be there for your down payment and your closing costs. And if you want to get started this way, it's a great way to build the discipline quickly. You can start small and then adjust as you get used to things. One of the ways that you can do that is the 50-30-20 rule. That's where you split your income. 50% goes to your needs, the bills you have to pay, your rent, your utilities, your groceries. 30% goes to your wants, your dining out, your travel, your entertainment, all the fun stuff. And then 20% goes to your savings and your debt. Now, it's not as exact as the zero-based principle, but at least you get started understanding that you're going to be building that savings account because your entire reason for doing this is the goal of buying a home. Now, the 50-30-20, this is the new 2025 version of something I've been talking about on the podcast back since 2019. There's a book called The Richest Man in Babylon, and this is what I did raising my kids. We did 70-10-10-10. Even if they got, $20 from grandma, they split it up. 70% went into, that's my money. I can do what I want with that. I can go out and I can go buy candy. And then 10% goes to investing. 10% goes into savings, a more secure, regular, simple savings account. And then 10% goes to charity. This is something I've been preaching to everybody forever. Anyone who lives on 70% of their income, trust me, 10 years from now, they're going to be in a much more wealthy situation than people who are just living paycheck to paycheck and trying to figure things out. But what they've done is they've adjusted that for the new Gen Z and millennial. 50% needs, 30% wants. Understanding how you think and how you feel, that's important. And then 20% to savings and debt. And then the third type of budgeting style is an old school one, and it's called the envelope method. Putting cash in different envelopes. Here's the thing about that. It's brutally outdated. It's for people who don't want to write down every single expense. So what they do is they get a bunch of envelopes and they write on each one of them, okay, I got to pay for this, I got to pay for that, I got to pay for this. And then they put the money into those envelopes for their rent, their utilities, their gas, their groceries, whatever. And then they've got an envelope left for miscellaneous or fun. And they live their month. And anytime they want to do something, they go to the miscellaneous or fun envelope. And when the cash is gone, that's it until next payday. And then you're going to divide it up on all the envelopes again. So in 2025, you should absolutely straight up avoid any budgeting systems, including apps that are based on the envelope method. This is boomer thinking and it needs to die. I could see why so many younger people cringe so hard when they hear the word budget, because this is what people are selling to them. This focuses completely on deprivation and scarcity. It's got no plan. So if you're trying to save for a home, zero-based budgeting is your best bet. And if you want to start slow and figure out how to get that done, you could start by utilizing parts of the pay yourself first, the 50-30-20 as well, and start your planning. Eventually get to the point where you're planning exactly where every dollar goes, but you can at least start by paying yourself first. This way, you are in control. You have a plan. It's intentional, it's proactive, and it's strategic. The things you need to reach a big goal like, buying a house. And here's the cool thing. You don't have to do any of this on your own. So let's take a look at the budgeting apps for 2025. I've been researching them for years. And one thing that became clear to me in the last week when I was doing things for this episode was that even the ones that are very popular and have great reviews, they're not actually great for budgeting. They are simply post-spending tracking apps. They don't have the right tools to help you budget for the future. So I'm going to start by saying that most of the free apps out there, they fall into the post-spend tracking apps, and they're not budgeting apps. So if you truly want to budget, you really should look into the apps that have a little bit of a paid part to what they do. The pricier ones, they're only about $100 a year. And that can be so worth it, especially when you've got a big goal in mind for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Remember, when you're looking at all the budgeting apps and you're trying to find one for you, this is how I was looking at it. You know what? These apps are made for everybody at every individual level, from the very beginner to the super advanced. So I reviewed these in mind with you, the first-time home buyer. And then you can help yourself by being very self-aware and realize that you're probably in, at minimum, the mid-tier, if not the top-tier level of someone searching for a budgeting app. Because again, a home isn't, an extra week out with my friends. What? A week out? Sorry, guys. It's just been so long since I was in my 20s. I'm trying to plan like crazy trips in the past. So when we look at these apps, I'm going to assume that you're in a better position than the people who are just trying to learn how to put money away for the very, very first time. And even if you are doing that, I want you to at least look at the apps that are going to do this at a more advanced level, because you're buying a house. You're not just buying, a new computer. So here we go, gang. Hardcore adulting. So first, you're trying to save money. And so you're like, well, I'm going to look at the ones that are free. Well, the free apps, they're teaser apps. And it goes beyond the fact that they just don't do what they're supposed to for you. They actually have a seedier intention in mind. Their goal is to get you sucked in and using their interface. And then when you maybe need a little bit more from your budgeting app, well, now you're already committed. You're used to theirs. And that's when they can sell you more stuff. It's like the freaking Fortnite skin add-ons. My son still owes me like $7,000 or $8,000 for that crap when he was a kid. So because of that, you may as well start with an app that's designed for you, not an app that's designed to suck you in and then sell you more stuff later on. Which leads me to public enemy number one when it comes to apps. I mean, the worst culprit of all time, freaking Rocket. They are the king of making something look so simple, so accessible, so easy. And then once they have you, later, they sell you other services. And they are the worst financial services on the planet. And they are especially the worst if you're someone trying to buy your first home. Now, I've done all the research on this. Let me tell you, if you don't know this about Rocket, Rocket is a monster conglomerate of over 100 companies. And here's their business plan. Here's what they're doing. They plaster ads all over TV and social media, specifically aimed at Gen Z and millennials. If you even click on one, you'll see so many man on the street interview things that are made by Rocket. And what they do is they make it look so easy and so simple, and they tell you it's free. But their true plan is to capture you. That's the word they use, capture you. And they've got you because then they know you're accustomed to their interface, and it's going to help you a little bit on certain things. But then later on, they're going to sell you garbage service because that increases the bottom line of one of their over 100 companies. It's a corporate crap business model preying on younger people with their advertising, their simplicity, and their interface. And it is 100%. Once you get to the place that you need a different tool, 100% of the time, it is not the best tool or service for you. More on Rocket later. Here's the breakdown on the best apps for home purchase planning. I will start with this. The best budgeting app for you is the one that you're actually going to use. I heard a lot of great people say this when they were doing reviews of all the apps. This is my individual review. I have no affiliation, no sponsorship. This is just me just straight dropping opinion. What I found, these are the top 5 apps for budgeting for first-time home buyers. Now, there's going to be a bunch that maybe you've heard of that you're like, why do you say that one? I get it. There's a bunch that are highly rated, but some of those are more for retirement and investing. And there's a whole bunch of others that are popular and they've got really good reviews. But in taking a deep dive and looking at over 50 of these, a lot of those popular ones, they're not as good for specifically trying to budget to buy your first home. Number 1 was You Need a Budget, YNAB. Now, this is a zero-based budgeting app where every dollar gets a job. It's one of the most popular apps, and it's got raving fans. I mean, we're talking about people who say it changed their life. It absolutely, completely retooled everything they've ever done and gave them the windows and the doors of opportunity for all kinds of other stuff. What it does is it can automatically link to all your accounts. You can use it to work with a partner or even with a close-knit group. I don't always recommend buying a house with a group of your friends, but I know a lot of people who are doing this together. A lot of people are doing that to like go on a big trip together. Cool thing to do. And YNAB, the fans are like intensely enthusiastic. People love it. Here's the thing about it. It is one of the more expensive apps. It's $109 a year, but I found a bunch of different places. If you just look around, you can almost always get in for a discount or a free trial. Now, here's the thing about YNAB. You need a budget. It definitely has the steepest learning curve of all the apps, and it is going to take you some time to get used to it, even for the nerdiest of you out there. But here's the deal. When you get the app, there's a ton of tutorial videos, and it's like people rave about it so much that there's a giant subreddit community to try to help people understand how to work with it. The second one, and one that gets compared to You Need to Budget a lot, is something called Monarch Money. Now, this is another one that you pay for, but you get what you pay for. And Monarch Money is really well reviewed, both from critics and users. You can link your accounts. It also does a ton of auto importing for you, so your information just goes right in there. It's also shareable with a partner, and it has really cool customizable features, so you can customize all your categories and you can make it your own personal plan. The third one is called Quicken Simplify. Now, originally when you start with Quicken Simplify, Quicken's been doing this stuff for a long time. So they're going to help you make a budget on your past spending. And then that's going to work with your current vibe and what you want to do. It's actually going to help you create the best spending plans for yourself moving forward. And it also has a watch list feature, which is pretty cool. And then number 4 on the list is the NerdWallet budgeting app. Now, NerdWallet has a long history of really trying to educate and empower the consumer first. Now, of course, when you go on their app and on their site, they do have some affiliates and they do have some upselling that's going to happen time to time. But the reason why I like this one is because they have a great track record of being consumer-centric. And then number 5 on the list is Copilot. Now, this isn't the Microsoft AI Copilot, which is out there right now, but this is a budgeting app that's been around for a little while, and it got great reviews. What's crazy is when you look at it, it's on the Apple App Store. Some of the reviews aren't so great, but the people who look at these and give these unsolicited reviews like I do, a lot of them spoke very highly of this one. One of the downfalls, it's only available on Apple products, but when people go and do these independent researching, it usually ends up in the top. And I believe it's at the top tier also for its functionality. It's got a great user interface, and it even has a link to track your Amazon spending, something maybe some of you don't want to look at. So that's the top 5. Now, here are 2 bonus tools that I also found. There's one that's pretty new out there, but it's getting a lot of love. It's called Lunch Money. Not a lot of historical data, but here's what I heard about it so far. The main thing I found is that everyone says that it has great customer service. I didn't hear that about any other app, but I heard it about this one. It's got a really simple interface, and it lets you track last month so you can compare to see if inflation is increasing your spending, and that obviously can help you when you're looking for your planning. And this one also works with a partner. But here's the big thing about Lunch Money. This one is designed web first because they want you and they encourage you to sit down and look at the big picture, literally, on a desktop version, not on your phone. And the second little bonus one, it's not an app, but it's something that spreadsheet nerds just will not shut up about online. It's called Tiller. It works with Google Sheets or Excel, and it helps you create tons of custom sheets. And it's got some really incredible templates for you guys out there. If you're really into spreadsheets, man, this one's for you. It's got stuff that the nerds online say that you can't find anywhere else. It's all done for you. And it even works with several different budgets and budgeting types if it's your jam. So those are the ones I found that were best for first-time home buyers, but the best budgeting app for you is the one that you're actually going to use. So get some free trials. There's some great YouTube videos, these review videos comparing one to the other, or the top 3 or top 4. They're really good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have JT put the links to these 5 plus the bonus 2 in the show notes, as well as a few good YouTube review videos that I found when I was doing this research for you. One of the things to keep in mind is there are a lot of budgeting apps, and some of them work well, but it depends on where you are in the phase of your life. You want to find the one that works best for this phase of your life, saving to buy a home. The best app you have today is the one that helps you get to that ultimate goal. And people go nuts about this stuff. They're going to tell you this app is the best or that app is garbage. And they will seriously not be shy about it when they give you their opinion. And I understand that because maybe they found something that's perfect for their season of their life that they're in right now. But you guys got to remember, this is about you. Stay focused. Remember your mission. And what gets weird is if you're a big person who looks at reviews, remember high scores and high reviews, that doesn't mean that particular app and those high scores and high reviews come from people who are in your exact experience trying to get a specific type of service out of that app. And I can tell you this, lots of them, especially the free ones, they're really not the best for where you are right now. They're kind of low tech. I mean, a lot of them, you have to manually add and re-add your bills every single month. And I get it. The interface looks really easy, but I'm telling you, having to do that every single month is going to make you hate this. And some of them are just not right, even though everybody else loves them for what you're trying to do. The reason for that is they're mostly spending trackers. And these are some that I don't personally recommend for helping you buy a home, but they're pretty popular out there. Fluor, the Buddy Budget app, Spending Tracker, Actual, Weekly, Monify, Honeydew, Dollar Bird, Money Manager, Money MGR, or Spending Tracker. I also don't recommend Good Budget. That's envelope budgeting style and totally outdated. And I don't recommend Every Dollar, even though a lot of people go nuts for it. Well, main reason for that is because, well, that's Dave Ramsey's budgeting act. And if you want to hear how I actually feel about what Dave Ramsey is doing and how I just think his budgeting advice is outdated for a 2025 buyer, then you can go back and listen to episode 69 and 106. Lots of the ones I just mentioned, they're free or really, really cheap. And it kind of sounds like, dude, doesn't it make sense for me to save money on my budgeting app since I'm trying to save money? Yeah, but let's look at the big picture. For an extremely affordable fee, you can up your game big time with the better apps. And lots of them, like I said, they've got great discounts and deals to get in. Now, here's the big bonus tip for today. There's a bunch of those cancel my subscription apps that are popping up all over the place. Started with Rocket and then Experian got in the game. We know how I feel about Rocket. But here's what's going on with the cancel my subscription apps. When you use a proper budgeting app or a spreadsheet, you're going to see those subscriptions pop up monthly yourself. It's going to be right there. And then you can save the money that you would spend on an app by canceling them yourself. And here's the real rub. I tried both Experian and Rocket just to test them out. And this was months ago when I started seeing the commercials for cancel my subscription. And between my experience and what I've been reading online, I can tell you they don't automatically cancel them for you. Like less than 50% of them, they actually cancel. And that comes from my experience as well as people out there. The bottom line, the cancel my subscription and the early, let's get you started on seeing where your money goes, that's tracking your spending. This is all entry-level stuff. And again, they're capturing you so that they can give you lousy service later on, but get you to pay for it. This is not what you need for your home buying mission. Homies, it's time to start doing some adulting. And you do that by getting the best budgeting app for your lifelong financial stability goal. Budgeting's the key, and real budgeting helps you tell your money where to go, not just see where it went. So find the app that you're most comfortable with, but make sure that's going to do that for you. There you go. Now, those specific apps will fast track your personal savings plan so you can track your progress. Up next in part 3, we've got a ton more steps, tips, tools, and techniques. You can do this.
Looking for more DIY education or your own personal step-by-step guidance through the home buying journey? Since 2019, How to Buy a Home has been the #1 resource for first-time home buyers. So visit howtobuyaHome.com to get started.